What do you think you've learned the most that you think you've adjusted and changed in working with women in their 40s through mid 60s?
Great question. I
Okay.
also I'm 55. So,
Yeah.
I've been aging along these last 19 years. I really understand how tricky it is for women to juggle all of the responsibilities that they have that they want to take on that have been given to them, then to have some amount of time where they are focusing on themselves. I'd like to always add in another way to think about advocating for oneself when it comes to our health and wellness. The truth of the matter is that everything that we say and everything we do comes from the mental and physical energy that we have in that very moment. Whatever it is that we are trying to communicate, whatever it is that we're trying to get done, whether it's work, home, friends, social commitments, none of us want to do it okay.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know,
No, we want to do it like fully
yeah,
full on.
we want to
Right.
do it really well. When you have a headache a lot, when your stomach is
Mm,
bothering you, when you're not sleeping well, when you have a backache, when you have a lot of brain fog, it's really tricky to be the best version of ourselves. This continuum, this circle, we don't take care of ourselves and then we don't show up well. Then we have a lot of negative self talk that makes it harder to want to spend more time taking care of ourselves. And then we go in this circle. I really want the women listening to realize we have to advocate for ourselves. We have to take ownership and responsibility for the things that we can take responsibility for. And then we get some support from medical doctors to help us with the other pieces. So I think that sometimes it can feel like these two things, there's a lot going on in our lives. We have a lot of responsibility and we have responsibility for ourselves. It can feel
right.
like they butt heads against each other. It can feel like they don't fit together. And the work that I do now
Hmm.
is really focusing on helping women simplify health and wellness so that they can make friends with their self-care consistency.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I haven't met a woman yet who doesn't know what they need to do to take care of themselves. I believe that most women want to. The tricky part is how do they get it in with some level of consistency in the midst of all of the complexity that is their lives. That's the work that I do now is helping women to figure out simple routines. The thing that we often do, Michelle, is that we just try to take on too much. All the women that I work with, they're managers and supervisors and business owners and directors. And so they're very accustomed to having things work out, right? They're accustomed to doing things on the fly. That can be the case that you can do it on the fly, but only when we've started to develop some momentum with it. The only way to build momentum is just to work on small bits at a time and let that become a part of your life. And then it becomes easy because you have momentum. And then we can kind of do it on the fly. Sometimes women go back and forth. I really want to change, but I'm not really ready. I want to change.
Hmm.
I'm not really ready. I see this as a fear. We're nervous about what the change is going to mean. Am I not going to be able to have this food? Is it going to be hard for me? Am I going to have to clean out everything out of my kitchen? How's this going to work with my family? There's a lot of unknowns. So that's
No.
often the hesitation making this leap between I think I really want to do this, but when is the right time to do this? And I think that fear shows up simply because number one, we're very practiced at taking too big of a leap. Going from never exercising to running 5 miles, that's going to be torture on your body. Mentally, it's really going to make it hard. Your body's going to be sore. You're not going to want to do that again. It's going to be months before you ever try to start moving around again. But if we're able to say go from not exercising very much to doing 5 minutes of stretching 2 or 3 times a week, everyone can do that. So not picking
Right. Right.
anything
Right.
too big, taking these small bites, and taking our time with it is really super important. But another piece is not being honest about where our starting point is. with each one of the changes that we want to make. In the program that I run, the Strength and Vitality Accelerator, we're looking at what I call the 7 foundations of health and wellness. So they are things like exercise and stretching, watching our nutrition, hydrating ourselves, having a strong digestive system, things that we all know are foundational to having the mental and physical energy that we're looking for. Not everyone has the same starting place with those things. I've been an athlete all my life. I played sports in middle school, in high school, and in college. I've been a martial artist for 20 years. So moving around is not a big deal for me. But for my wife, who didn't have that kind of experience in school, it's just tricky for her. If she tries to do the workout that I do, it's going to be really hard for her. It's going to be miserable.
How do you think menopause and perimenopause today can be supported and made easier for women to go through?
I think that a lot of the women that I talk to that are in my programs, they're having more difficulty with this hormonal shift in this time of life because of these 7 foundations. What they're eating may be causing more hormonal dysregulation. They're not hydrated. They're not moving their bodies. When we can figure out a good rhythm with these 7 pieces, a lot of the night sweats, a lot of the brain fog, a lot of the digestive discomforts, they really start to come down. And women find it to
Yeah.
be extremely beneficial. Again, how do we get some rhythm with all of that when life is so full and busy? And on top of it, you have these hormonal shifts that are throwing you around during the day. And, I think the answer to that is to do it in small pieces, to not overwhelm ourselves.